17th of Shvat. Yud Zayin Shvat marks the Hilula of a really great rabbi. His name was Rabbi Yakir Shmuel David, Istaroq Giron, Effendi, Zecher Tzadik Libracha, or Rabbi Yakir Giron, very, very famous rabbi in of itself. He was born in English year 1813 and passed away in the year 1874. As you can see, we added the name Effendi to his name. We didn't necessarily add it. I'm adding it over here. It's like another word for the word in Turkish of Adon, or master. It was a specific title for, let's just say, magnanimous people, which Turkish government or the local populations would actually describe him as. It's not the first time we've used this. We've been doing videos on the great rabbis with the name Effendi. Most notably, Rabbi Chaim Nachum Effendi was one of the other rabbis, and several other rabbis in itself. He lived about 61 years of age. He was a great man of the congregation over there. He was the rabbi of the city of Edirne, I believe. That is part of more northern, western parts of Turkey, if I'm not mistaken. Also, he became the Chacham Bashi of Koushta. Koushta, naturally, also is, let's just say, the Ir Atika, the old city in of itself, inside Istanbul, respectively. He would be the head rabbi of the Ottoman Empire and one of the great rabbis of his time in of itself, respectively. Let's explore a few of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. Now, he was born in Edirne, over there in Turkey, in the 1830. Naturally, in Hebrew, that would be Hey Taf Kuf Ayin Gimel, and came from family full of great rabbanim, I believe, from that were expelled from Spain originally. I think from the Girona area of Spain in of itself, and he would learn under the auspices of his father while he was young. I think come with the year 1835, would have been about 22 years of age at that point in time. He'd be appointed to become, let's say, the rabbi of the city. It would be a role he would keep on, I believe, for 7 years, if I'm not mistaken, till the English year 1842 in of itself. He would be training, he would be, let's say, appointed to become the rabbi of the city, and would have various different great tasks on inside the Kihila as a general. He introduced, let's just say, new takanot inside the community, amended new regulations for it, and did a huge amount of activity in of itself, and received important honors from the sultans of Abdulaziz and Abdul Medik. And I think that it was reported over at one stage in time, a conflict broke out between various different leaders, let's just say robust discussion in Constantinople, I think in the year 1842. And many rabbis, including Rav Gueron, Rav Chaim Pelagi, and Rabbi Menachem ben Erdit, would actually come to the government to help with in regards to dealing with these matters in of itself. And Rav Gueron will later on return to Edirne over there, and it would be actually interesting. At one time, the debate was so wide that the Sultan will actually appoint Rabbi Gueron as rabbi and sage of Constantinople and the head of the rabbis of Turkey, which is very interesting enough. He would later on replace Rabbi Yaakov Avigdor, who was another great rabbi of his time in Turkey in of itself. I believe we've mentioned him on various occasions before. Rabbi Yaakov Avigdor, I believe, he was, he would have been from 1790 to the years 1830. He would have been the Chacham Bashi, the chief rabbi of Koushta of Istanbul, respectively, with many, many important positions in of itself. But let's be it said this may, Rabbi Abraham Giron was a very, very great rabbi also. And he would become the city's rabbi. He introduced, let's say, new takanot in the community, enacted new regulations for it, and it was continuously seen at the highest esteem by many of the locals, for example. And we mentioned about the nobles over there, how much they really, really do appreciate in of itself. Now, it's actually interesting, we have to point out that there was a call from Rabbi Azriel Hildesheimer. He happened to be, let's say, a head rabbi of the Torah Derech Eretz school in Germany in of itself, and the founder of the Rabbinic Seminary in Berlin. There was a discussion with regards to the Ethiopian Jews. Rabbi Gueron issued a letter, I believe, one such time, I think in the year 1866, and he emphasized that there was no difference between Ethiopian Jews and other Jews in diaspora. So it was a rabbi that would really look into different situations and would, let's just say, explain everything and state it. People would actually take his opinion extremely seriously at the highest level. He warned the people that there was a problem of missionaries at that point in time, and we know, especially during the 1800s and early 1900s, unfortunately, still there could be a problem where there's other missionaries coming in to threaten the community. he would take various different steps in order to combat or thwart these different issues in of itself. Let's just say it's actually interesting. He would help also, as another tidbit, the communities in Ethiopia, sending them help and having correspondence with them in of itself. I think come what may, 1872, he would leave Constantinople. It would leave his position also, I think, with the Sultan's consent, and he would emigrate to the land of Israel, Eretz Israel in of itself. And I think at one stage in time, before he ended up in Israel, he would go back to Erdin to say goodbye to his family and acquaintances, and move, I think, in that year of Av to, let's just say, to Eretz Israel. And he would arrive by ship to Jaffa, was received there by many of the great rabbis, especially Rabbi Raphael Meir Panizal, another great rabbi, Rabbi Yaakov Shaul Elisha. Especially Rabbi Yaakov Shaul Elisha was a chief rabbi, let's just say, the Rishon LeZion, between the years 1893 to 1906. I believe he would arrive in Israel. I think the area was a Motzah neighborhood in Jerusalem, by the Jerusalem hills in itself. And he was welcomed by the famous former chief rabbi of Israel, Rishon LeZion, Rabbi Abraham Ashkenazi. And I believe there was an accompanying of 50 rabbis from the Sephardic community. And from there they entered Jerusalem and was accompanied by an honor guard of soldiers, religious leaders, and councils riding a horse over there. So it was really seen by highest esteem by many of the locals in of itself. He founded the Chesed Ve'emet Yeshiva and studied there with famous city rabbis of that point in time. I think he began to work to expand the Jewish settlement in of itself. I think he had correspondence with Rabbi Tzli Kalisha, who saw him, let's say, as a role model and an ideal person for activity building in the land, and corresponded with him and convinced him to establish a land purchase committee and head it. That I believe that purpose of that committee itself, called the Society for the Settlement of Israel, was to purchase land and establish moshavim for Hebrew farmers over there. I believe Rabbi Gueron suggested to Rabbi Kalisha that he purchase a large plot of land in Jaffa area, and the heads of the societies for the resettlement of Eretz Israel in of itself. I think he prepared to purchase a plot of land in the Jerusalem area for immigrants, for example, from Bucharest, from Romania, and informed Rabbi Kalisha of the possibility of purchasing the plot of land where the tomb of Shimon the Righteous is located. It was reported over. Now, I believe he passed away on February the 4th in the year 1874. So, friends, that is approximately around 150 years ago in that approximation. He would be buried in Har Hazeitim in the Sephardic rabbinic plot, I believe, over the Sephardic section in itself, in the Mount of Olives. As we say, he was one of the great rabbis of his time. He received the title of Effendi in Turkey, respectively, had various important roles in community life. He was a head rabbi over there. Now, friends, if you happen to be related to any of these great rabbis, please send me an email. We are a community here. If you feel other people are interested in watching these videos, please share the videos to others. I'm wishing you blessings here from Israel. Take care and have a great